Welcome to the After 29 podcast, a roundtable discussion between four brothers from diverse backgrounds about navigating everyday life after 29. On this podcast, no topic is safe, and our goal is to challenge the status quo on everything from social issues and relationships to politics, mental health, finances, and everything in between. Come join us as we explore these topics, discussing how they relate to and affect the Black community. This is your After 29 podcast.
Welcome to the first episode of the After 29 podcast. I'm Clayton Foster, resident BSN. Happy to get this thing going.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Davis. I'm the best looking out of the group and also the most outspoken.
Mozzie Boone here, the true African in this building.
And I'm Vincent Dunstan. I'm the most honest, the most blunt, and I'm the man of God here. So on this first episode of the After 29 podcast, we decided to talk about what it's like to grow up Black here in America. And on this particular episode, we're all going to just navigate our way through not only growing up Black as an adolescent, but what it means to grow up Black in America after 29. So I'm going to throw it over here to Clayton, man. Man, just tell us a little bit about what it's like to grow up Black here in America for you and where you come from.
Well, I mean, I'm a country boy, you know. It's I think sometimes it could be a gift and a curse.
But a curse how, though?
Just because, like, for example, I mean, I'm 6 foot Black man, and sometimes I'm kind of imposing, and sometimes just my presence can be a threat, and I'm Black on top of that, so. You
just seen it as a threat all the way around at this point?
Yeah, sometimes.
Now, how is it a gift, though?
Because everybody want to be us, everybody want to be like us, because we got all the style.
We got all that swag.
Yeah, they want to be like us.
Well, we call that culture what? A cultural appropriation.
Indeed.
Somebody had just got accused of doing that just recently. I think it was Adele. I think she had like a little cornrows and a nice little tan and stuff like that on her. She's about the whitest white girl you could ever think of.
Hey, I like Adele though.
I mean, I like her too, but I didn't want to see Adele with cornrows and stuff like that in her hair with a nice little tail. So.
I'm a reserved judgment. I ain't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it come across
like our culture though.
All right, Malcolm, what about you, man? Like, I mean, you know, we all come from diverse backgrounds. So, like, I mean, what is it like for you?
I think everything good for me being Black, man. I wouldn't change a thing about it at all. I mean, I love being Black, and Black done taught me a lot about survival. And that's one thing that all Black men has. We have that hustle mentality. We can get shit done when we need to get it done. And it's okay, and I love being Black.
Oh, most definitely. So, and what about you, Mazio?
I mean, I was born in D.C. and everything like that, but just seeing, and then like moving to North Carolina and everything like that, just seeing the difference in how like you're treated because of your name or whatnot. I mean, your own people would like, or my own people would just like talk trash, pick on me because of my name, how dark I was or whatever. But like saying what Malcolm was talking about, like I love being Black as well. Just the challenges I face. I mean, I feel like it. Not saying I'm better, but I feel like it put me on a different pedestal or whatever. Because my mom, you know, pretty much was telling me like all these things, like, you know, your own people won't dislike you and stuff like that. And the crazy thing about it is, even though I'm not really like I wasn't from Africa or whatever, or born in Africa, but just seeing how, you know, some Africans treat actual Black African Americans is crazy. So I mean, you would think that all of us would, you know, stand together, but it's definitely not like that. So it's like I'm fighting on both sides.
Yeah, I understand, man. They do treat us dark-skinned brothers pretty bad.
Being about the lightest brother in the whole room.
The same color as your shirt, bro.
Yeah, not even lighty beige.
Dark skin.
All right, so
yellow.
So one of the things for me is, I mean, you guys all know we all met back in middle school, I believe it was, and me being a Black man coming from a totally different type of area. I came from the city of New York. I was born and raised in Harlem. So experiencing being Black in America in the big city of New York and then experiencing it again in a different light down here in the South was, it was really different, truth be told. It was very different. So it's like I ain't gonna say the best of both worlds, but I got to experience two different worlds as a Black man. So I get to draw on those two different experiences. And one of the things being from New York and living uptown in New York, you don't really see a lot of people that are non-Blacks. If I can say that, most of the time, if we wanted to see white folks or something like that, we went downtown. So we didn't really do a lot of mixing. Not like it was segregated, but just that a lot of non-blacks live mostly downtown. So around me was more blacks, Hispanics, and things like that. So I didn't really get that really cultural mix until I did move here to the South. Now, moving here to the South, I got a cultural shock. When I met you boys, first off, just meeting y'all, and y'all are black men, meeting y'all was different than just what I've been used to there in the city. But not only that, like certain things, like even as far as like light racism and things like that, you know, if you will, I didn't experience things like that in New York. And if I did, I didn't know it. But when I got down here, it was bold like this. You know, I was called a nigga within like the first 2 weeks of me living in North Carolina. And I'm like, I'm about to slap somebody. Because it wasn't something that I was used to. So it was like, it wasn't even that I was angry. I was more shocked. I was like, yo, they actually do that. I thought that was something that I only saw in movies that happened, you know, in places like this. But then when I moved here and started to, you know, getting to know people, yo, white people down here actually say that out loud and to your face, like it's everyday language, you know. So it was definitely
in Bun, North Carolina.
I mean, well, actually, this happened to me when I first moved here. I was in Lewisburg, you know. So it was just, you know, like I said, it was a big cultural shock for me. So, you know, it just goes to show that no matter where you're from, no matter what type of area you're from, no matter what state or what side of the country that you live on or where you were born, as a black man in America, we pretty much face some of the same challenges, you know, so it almost doesn't matter, you know. So one of the other things I want to talk about is, as young men, before we bring it to after 29, what's some of the experiences, man, that y'all had growing up and with like issues of racism that maybe it had been like secret racism or pocket racism that maybe you looking in hindsight, you didn't really know it was racism until now?
Yeah, I got a real good one. I remember when I was probably in like elementary school, maybe middle school or so. Me and my sister, we used to go down the street to this girl's house. She was a white girl we went to school with. And it really didn't register with me till I was much older. I was like, that was super racist. And I didn't really pay much attention to it at the time, but we went over to her house, and when we got there, she was like, oh, well, y'all can't stay long because my dad's going to be back home soon, and he don't like black people. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
what can you say at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a kid at that point.
But it was normal
Right.
for people to say that, like, oh, well, I can't be friends with you out in the open, or I can date you, but I can't date you out in the open because my mom or my dad wouldn't like that. And the fact that we live in this particular generation, in this time, in this century, and we still have to say those things to one another, we still have to ask things like that. It's kind of weird that we still have to ask those kinds of things. Like, you know, if I come over to your house, is your dad going to be okay? Is your mom going to be okay? Because the last thing I want is another get out. You know, I don't want to be the real life get out here. You know.
Right. So I remember, I got two older siblings. I have an older brother and an older sister, and I also got a younger sister. I remember one day I was in my house. I must have been in like the 4th or 5th grade. And my older brother was dating this white girl, and her parents actually showed up at my house, knocked on my door. So my grandma goes out there. You know, my grandma is the original OG. She used to carry a gun in her pocketbook.
The original Medea.
The original Medea. My grandma used to get drunk and shoot guns in the backyard all the time. So my grandma goes out there and they fussing. So I wake up and my grandma had the gun, you know, pulled out on him. I actually thought my grandma was gonna shoot him. To be that bold to come to somebody's house just because you don't want your daughter dating a black man is crazy. And that was like the first time I was like, you know what, it is different. Right. I had to be in like the 4th or 5th grade.
You never told us that story, bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, Mazio?
Man, I got quite a bit, but I think the one thing that I guess the one circumstance that, or what happened to me was when I was in college. I know, like, we ran track together and everything like that, and I had my lime green track pants on and just finished running around the track, and I was walking, and next thing 2 cop cars came by and like just stopped. They told me to put my hands on the hood, and they was like, do you go here? I'm like, yeah. Like, what do you expect? Like, I mean, I'm walking, I just came from the track. So they told me to show them my school badge and everything like that. And I did that. They frisked me, and then they said, "Okay, go about your business." Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I've experienced racism before. I mean, even with my own people, but just like I've been called a nigga in high school and down on myself. We was about to beat the dudes down, but you know,
If somebody can call you a nigga, they can take that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, almost
that
definitely.
vibe
And I
piece
feel
to the
that way.
face.
And I feel that way to this day. If you bold enough to say it, be bold enough to,
Take them
take
licks.
the consequences.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of my first, looking back now as a grown man, like I said, we've all had some instances where we probably did experience racism, but we didn't know that's what it was at the time because we didn't know any better. Probably because we were a lot younger, or it was probably just something that we couldn't really tell.
I think we thought it was normal because we were so
Exactly,
used to
because
seeing it.
that's what we've always seen or heard. So, and no one ever said like, "Oh, this is wrong," like how it is now. Like people speak out on things before, but before it was just like that was just life, So you didn't say certain
Welcome
things.
to the South.
Yeah, that's the song.
But one thing that I remember, and be honest with you, this actually happened in New York City, like I said, which wasn't a place where we kind of like mixed a lot just because of the different sects or the different areas of New York. Like maybe your blacks were in one part and your Hispanics were in another. Asians were all the way downtown, and you got your whites down in Midtown or whatever, and Lower Manhattan and stuff like that. But one of the first instances that I can remember experiencing racism was going to a pool. And like I said, this is something that I thought that only happened in movies. Right. But me and some of my friends from the projects, we went to a pool at a place called Riverbank State Park there in New York City. And it's about 6-7 of us, just a bunch of black boys. We were teenagers at the time. And it was about 7 or 8 white people in the pool at the time. And, everybody's having a good time playing in the pool. We come in with our towels around our necks. We ready to get our swim on and, do things like that. Right. And then after one of us jumped in the pool, like they all looked at each other. And like almost in disgust or like shock or whatever. Like I said, it didn't dawn on me what was happening then. I could look back at it now and tell what was happening. Right. Because not even 2 or 3 minutes later, after we all put our towels down and, got ready to get into the water, they got out of the water. Now, mind you the pool at this particular park was no small pool. This was almost like an Olympic-sized pool. So the fact that we were in the water with these people in kind of like the same vicinity, it must have disgusted them so much that they had been in the water long before we had got there. Like I said, and as we were walking up and they weren't really paying any attention to us, nobody had looked like they had any indication of leaving the pool until one of us dipped our black skin in that pool. And now, like I said, we didn't think anything about it before. It was like, maybe it's just their time to go or whatever. Right. But now looking back and I look at just the way that they looked at us and just how abruptly right after we all got in the water, everybody left. So it was one of those where you don't realize that certain things are happening, especially back when you're like a teenager or younger, because some things just seem normal. You don't pay attention to some behaviors. But like I said, now looking back, literally, I don't know if they thought the chocolate on our skin was going to, bleed off into the water. Maybe the chlorine was going to turn their skin black because we were in it. I mean, I don't know, but definitely it was one of those first early experiences that I had. Like I said, that it kind of changes your way of thinking, going forward, as you get older and you start thinking back on things like that. Then it makes you aware as you get older.
Right.
So,
matter of fact, since you mentioned that, it made me think about something that happened to me when I was in Maryland. So I was in elementary school and everything like that, and all the kids were like reading books and everything, and the teacher would tell me like, just draw pictures and do everything like that. So I'm like, okay, why am I doing that? And I'm a little kid, I didn't know any better. So I told my mom, like, no. When my mom asked me, she was like, "What did you learn today?" I'm like, I mean, nothing really. And my mom doesn't play. Like, she came to the school, and I knew she was, as soon as she opened them doors, I knew she was like walking down the hall. She was yelling and fussing and everything like that. So the teacher told my mom, she said, "Oh, the reason why I'm not teaching them anything is because you'll never be able to learn how to read."
Wow.
My mom cussed her out from head to toe and whatnot, and then I think she ended up transferring me to another school and whatnot.
So she didn't teach you simply because
I was black.
Because you were a black child, not because you had a reading,
right.
Disability. You weren't dyslexic or or learning disability or anything like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
We can pick with Mazio now because we know the brother can read.
Yeah,
we know the brother's smart.
You sure?
The man is a college graduate. The man can read.
Yes,
so.
I can
I
read.
mean, Rashad McCants went to college too. And he can't.
I mean, unless he has somebody read to him, you know. But,
I'm not Floyd Mayweather.
What they say right there?
Oh, you pointed the picture, bro.
So let's fast forward just a little bit. So we know what it was like growing up in America, you know, when dealing with other races. But one of the things we also need to talk about is dealing with our own kind. So let's So let me not say fast forward. Let's turn the page just a little bit because, you know, growing up in America, being a black man, we go through some things with our own people. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm pro-black all day long. I love my black people. I love my black women. I think they're the most beautiful things on earth. That's not to say anything about anybody else, because my pro-blackness is not anti-white, anti-Hispanic, anti-Asian, anything like that. I'm just pro-black. I love my people. I love black men. I love black women because y'all are my sister and brothers. When I look at y'all, I see me. But let's just be real. We go through some experiences with our own kind sometimes. And some of them are good, you know, but I want to focus on some of those things that when you wake up in the morning as a black man dealing with your own kind, and you just be like, damn, I gotta deal with them again. What are some of those experiences? And like I said, they don't have to be something real terrible, but we do go through things like that where it's just like, I don't feel like dealing with my people today. And we have those. What are some of those that make y'all just kind of make your eyes roll, man?
I think a major one for me would be like when you got a business or, you know, a hustle you do on the side, and they want to solicit your business and, you know, pay you, but they asking for a discount, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Support black business, people.
And don't ask for no discount. You don't go to Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon, and say, hey, man, can I get it for the low?
Come on, somebody.
That's my major pet peeve that I can think of right now.
Man, let me touch on that, because me and you had this conversation off air about that. You don't go to a white business. You don't go to Target. You don't go to Walmart. You don't go to Sears. You don't go to K Jewelers and say, hey, man, let me get it for the low. Let me get that discount.
Can you go to Sears?
Yeah, I don't know about going to Sears anymore. You know, they can't
close
go to Sears. Yeah. But, you know, you don't even have the audacity to go into a store like that and ask for a discount. But when somebody that looks like you, or even a family member more so, starts their own business or something like that, not only do you ask for a discount or a handout, but you won't give them the business.
Right.
Because they didn't offer you a discount. Or you might say, oh, well, your prices are a little too high or whatever. Or, you know, and like the main thing is, I ain't going to spend my money with you because you ain't hooking me up. But I will turn around and I will go and give the white man or a white-owned business full price and don't even ask for a discount. And I'll do it happily.
Right.
But won't give you my money because you won't give me a discount.
And I wouldn't be so upset if our culture was like how the Indian culture are. Their culture, they haggle and try to get that discount. If our culture was like that, I wouldn't bat an eye to it. But our culture ain't that at all.
No,
not at all.
No, I mean, first of all, with a lot of that, from what I've seen, that's just them.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's their own or somebody else. They want the discount.
Absolutely.
And I'm okay with that because I expect that when I'm doing business with a person of that ethnicity. I expect that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we, on the other hand, in our community, we want the hookup from our own. If I'm going to support your business, you need to help my pocket out. Right. But how does that translate into black wealth when I'm taking from your business, not adding to it?
Indeed.
People, that is not supporting black business. Supporting black business means paying the fair price for it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go to a black business and pay 10 times as much as somebody else. I'm not saying that because I'm not going to spend 10 times more on the same product that I could have got somewhere else.
Indeed.
And black people start pricing yourself out of the market.
Exactly. And I get it. You got overhead and you got expenses that maybe, you know, you got to make up for because you're not a large chain yet. I get that. But you cannot make your millions all in one day off one customer.
Right.
You know, you got to be fair with your prices. And I'm not saying that's all business, but I have experienced that with some black business. I'm like, dude, you like 30% over market. you trying to hustle me, and but you want me to support you, but I'm not going to pay $60 for something that another chain over here is selling for $20 now. Right. If they were selling for 20 and you was 25, 27, I got you.
I agree to the most part, but sometimes I feel a little hypocritical because we chopped some heads off when we were selling cars.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Come on, Chrysler, man.
Yeah, but that's a different industry. That whole industry says,
hey, I got 2 kids, a wife in the house, man. I had to get it.
But we were talking about dealing with our own kind and supporting black businesses. It just gets a negative connotation, and I wish it didn't, because I would love to be able to support more black business, and I'm gonna change subjects here since we on black business, because this is part of growing up black here in America, dealing with our own doing business.
I got another point I want to touch on too. So
customer service. Come on, somebody in the black business. We on the
same page.
Yeah, okay, now can we
page.
talk about customer service? No, don't get it twisted. I'm not bashing us, because I still love going into a black business, and I get to, and I feel like I feel like I'm interacting with a family member, but just because of cultural things there. Like, we have cultural similarities. I'm not saying that I'm going into a store to look for a family member, but sometimes when I go into some locally owned black businesses, I feel like I'm dealing with a family member. Like, I go in there, we speak and things like that, and we may have something in common or whatever. We might be able to talk about some of the same things, and I feel a little bit more at home or whatever. But I do support the business. But I'm gonna tell you, we do have some of those businesses out here, and we do talk about it, and I don't think we should be ashamed to talk about it. We have some black businesses out here. Great ideas, great business, great product. Customer service,
trash.
Suck.
Yeah. Trash.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and say that.
I'm for one, if it's bad customer service, I just won't go back.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, that's just what it is, man.
And I'm sorry, you can't use the fact that we got the same skin tone to say, oh, but you should spend your money with me. But I also still want to be treated like a customer wants to be treated.
Yes.
But it's still some dope black business. I mean, that's
most definitely.
That's one thing I loved about Durham, man. Like, going like the Bull City store, man, getting some of those hoodies and them shirts, man. Like, they're dope, man. Every time I went in there, it was cool. It was always great customer service.
I believe most of them are, just from experience with a lot of different black businesses that I've dealt with. I believe most of us got it down pat. We just don't get the foot traffic like we need because of larger corporations that try to overshadow us and try to play little dirty tricks to undermine our businesses. But other than that, like I said, I think it's just more like you got a handful out of a vast majority that just, they don't know how to separate that at home attitude from the at work attitude. And these people are the same whether they're in a black owned business or if you put them in a white business or something like that. They're gonna have the same attitudes and things like that.
So I think one thing that we didn't mention, or what I feel that gets on my nerves, is that for our own, if someone gets promoted, we attack that person, and instead of applauding and congratulating that person from working their tail off to get to where they're at, we attack them and bash them and whatnot. Why do we do that?
We talk bad about them.
And
that's you think you all that, man.
Right.
You think you better than us.
Yeah.
and I mean,
well, I am. That's why I got a promotion.
And I mean, that bothers me, because I mean, it's just like, you want to sit here and attack that person. Maybe that's why you're at where you're at right now. I mean, you could say, okay, man, like, let me talk to this dude and get his knowledge and see how I can better myself or whatnot, instead of just bashing that person.
But that boils down to, man, me and Malcolm, we understand that we've been in sales for a minute. So, like, we live on that competition, man. But some people, man, they just can't take that L.
And I mean, I understand, like, it's competition. Well, I mean, for y'all being in sales, it's competition, but it's just still, the fact of the matter is, you can see any other race will congratulate that person and build them up. But for us, it's like we're our own enemy.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm just saying, like, the people who, like I say, in the sales world, you gotta be competitive, and it's people like when you win, you get the salesman of the month. It's people who gonna hate just because they ain't no real competition. They can't hack it.
And they're snaky, boy. They'll take your deal all day.
All day.
But one of the things that I see, regardless of industry or whatever, whatever it is, whether it's in education, whether it's in employment, relationship, whatever the case may be. We as a community, we lack unity.
Oh, yeah.
And we're the ones who need it the most. But let me tell you something, and we are so powerful as a people that if we really just got it in our head, first of all, the world is scared if we were to ever unify. Right. J. Edgar Hoover, when he was the director of the FBI, was asked a question, and he was asked, what do you think is the biggest threat to the United States? And he said, if the Negroes unify. Everyone else seems to know that but us.
Right.
And well, we know it. We just won't unify because we'll talk about it all day long. Yeah, we need to come together. We need to do this or we need to unify. And as soon as somebody else has something we want or don't like or whatever the case may be, we going to bash them. Mm-hmm. And like Monty was just saying, we don't congratulate each other. Okay, so I didn't get the promotion, but you did. All right, you know what, my brother? Congrats to you. You know what? Maybe it's my time next time. But instead of congratulating each other, we will tear each other down in a heartbeat. You think you all that, man? No. How about, man, you earned that, man. You know what? And because now you might be my boss now, man, I'm going to work for you now. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do all I can to help you look good. Right. We're the only ones who don't take up for each other. We won't speak out against something, against, one of us. We won't pull one of us up when we get up. We won't do that. And I see it with a lot of other races, man. They'll pull each other in. They'll get each other jobs. They'll help each other advance. They'll support each other, but not us. Right. And it's sad because in our culture, we do have that, like, especially like in our families and in our friendships and things like that. Man, we have such a tight knit closeness with one another. Like when I talk about y'all or whatever, I tell people, I was like, I don't even call them friends anymore. Like, these are my brothers. I love y'all like blood brothers. Like, I do anything for any one of y'all, and I know it's reciprocated, but so we have that in our community, whether it's with our cousins or our homies, people at work, things like that. We have that close knit, tightness. But as a community, we don't have it with one another. We segregate. Black people segregate from one another. Right. And that's bad. And we don't come together.
And prime example, like last night, my wife was sitting in bed watching stuff like videos on YouTube. And I was talking about Chadwick Boseman, talking about his girl. And basically people were bashing like the girl because he was like, oh, well, she quickly married him because he was about to die so he can get his estate. And I'm like, no, why? Why does it got to be like that? Why are you bashing a dude that's not even here with us? And on top of that, you don't even know the situation.
Indeed.
Exactly.
And on top of that, like from what my wife was telling me, it's like dealing with like healthcare and everything like that. It's a lot of rules and regulations behind that. So yeah, she has to be married to him to be able to help out with a lot of things.
Exactly.
So, it's crazy. Like, instead of us like sitting up here just saying whatever off the top of our heads, attacking somebody, we need to sit down and think. If I was in that situation, if I was in that circumstance, like, would I want someone to sit up here and say the same thing to me? No, I wouldn't. So,
I think the biggest issue in our culture is that we have a lot of self-hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as soon as we can get control of that issue, then I think we'll be a little bit better off, man. It's just self-hate. And so I don't like where I'm at, so I'm going to hate on you.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what our culture deal with a lot. Yeah.
But I want to touch on that too, Malcolm, about self-hate in our community. And I actually want to take it backwards a little bit. Before we go back there, man, can we say Wakanda forever, man? Rest in peace to the man, Chadwick Boseman, man. He did a lot for us.
I should be the next Black Panther.
Man, okay, I'm going to do a little self-hate, man. You ain't even dark enough to play Black Panther.
I should be the next Black Panther. Wakanda forever.
Big shout out to him, man. He fought a hard battle, and I watched my granddad die of colon cancer, and I know how hard it is, and that man was like, when I think of him, man, like, even before I even knew that he died and that he was suffering from something, man, like, I really admired the man, like, just before the characters that he played, man, like, he really put us on the map. Not to say that others before him didn't do the same thing, because they did, but never in a way in a movie that said us, Africa. It put it on the map. Not, like I said, once again, not to say that other movies and things like that didn't do it, but for our generation, like, that was major, like a major movie like Black Panther. It gave you yet another reason. I won't say it gave you the first reason, but it gave you yet another reason, man, to be proud, to say, man, I'm Black. I love being Black. I love this Black skin that I wear. So like I said, man, rest in peace to him, man. I think, in my opinion, he earned his wings, man. I'd be willing to bet everything that, man, when he got to the gate, that God said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You've earned your rest and you've earned your wings. But
Chad would definitely inspire every Black man, no matter what your circumstances is,
and no matter what your age.
Be great.
No matter what your age, man. From 5 to 50 to 20, 25. he invoked something in you that made you just be proud, you know. And we need more of that.
Go out there and be great, no matter what your circumstances, no matter what you're going through. Get up and be great, black man.
And if he didn't teach us anything, man, you don't have no excuses not to do it.
No.
I mean, that man was dying. I mean, if I can be so blunt to say, the man was dying, and he gave us some of the best that we've seen in a long time.
And he knew he was dying.
Yeah, and it didn't stop him, man. Right. He was very selfless. I mean, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the brother. Like I said, man, rest in peace to him. And you know, I just pray that his legacy lives on.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, he did a lot for our kids, man. So you know, but to touch back on what Malcolm was saying about self-hate, let me tell you something that, and I don't even think that's something that we teach us to do. That's something that's taught to us from outsiders. And let me give you an example. When I was a young boy, because like I said, the only thing that I really knew of non-blacks, and I'll say it, mostly whites, what I saw on TV, what I saw on maybe like the news, or even what I just heard about. I never really got to experience a lot of whites until I moved to North Carolina. Everything that I knew about them was all great and gravy. You know, they had money, they got whatever they wanted, they drove these nice cars, they had these nice houses, and then here we are living in the projects. We got stuff, we got toys and clothes and stuff like that. But it just seems like these white kids that I saw, like they had it all, man. Like they had, like, I got a Huffy for Christmas one year. I got a Huffy bike, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, and a kid my age, little white kid, got a dirt bike, and I was like, yeah, I want that. So I remembered, and the reason I bring this up, because I remember one time, and I know when my parents hear this, they might flip their wig a little bit, but I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. But one time, I looked at our circumstance, and I looked at the circumstances of others, whites or whatever, from what I saw. And as a child, there was a time when I was like, I wish I was white. I said, I wish I was white. I hate being black, because we poor. We don't have this and we don't have that. And they have everything. I wish I was white because they're better. And I remember saying this as a young man.
And that's because those are the images that they want you to see on TV.
Exactly. That's what's portrayed to us, that everything white is right and black.
Everything is black is wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like it is in Star Wars, man. Like white and dark and black. That was the images that they put out.
I mean, but how many of us can honestly say we've had those moments? Maybe not as dramatically or as profound, but we've had those moments where, or some level of self-hate. Maybe it was unconscious. Maybe you didn't really hate yourself, but there was something about who you were that you were just so dissatisfied with, simply because of who you were. And I don't mean you personally. but just because of you were black. Or whatever. I'm
gonna say for me personally, and I'm glad Malcolm brought this topic up, and because I'm kind of get a little bit I guess personal about it. For me, being African American male, with my name and everything like that, I dealt with whites like call me nigger, and then African Americans like call me Mufasa and stuff like that. So that's what I was saying. I felt like I was dealing with racism on both sides,
on two fronts. Yeah.
So I hated myself for the longest, even in high school and everything like that. I never said anything about it. I actually tried to commit suicide because I hated myself. I hated who I was. And like you said, you thought, you had the feeling like you had the thought process saying that you wish you were white. I actually told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I wish she was white. Wish I never did that. Wish I never did that. But she taught me something that day. She was.
Did she slap you and remind you that you were black?
She slapped the taste out my mouth.
Okay,
but
she gave you one of them good black butt whippers.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You were reminded.
I had a few of them to myself.
But when I tried to commit suicide the last time, I had the razor blade in my hand and everything like that, and I was about to swipe my wrist, and I heard a voice say no. Cut right here, and I'm like, what am I doing? So after that moment, I started to embrace who I was, my name, because my name means anything that comes my way, I can overcome it. So I accepted that and embraced the challenge. So everything that came my way, I tried to face it head up, and no matter who it was, and even when I was getting picked on by other people calling me Mufasa, Makoko, whatever, I laughed about it. I picked on it myself. I'm like, you can't hurt me. So I there was a moment where I was going through self-hate, and I was like, man, I hate who I was. I hate my skin color. I hated my name, but I mean, now, I love it. I'm thankful for, that I have this name. I'm thankful that my mom and dad brought me into this world and gave me the name that I have. So I cherish it.
Thanks for sharing that story with us,
yeah,
man.
it's funny that you say that, because one thing about you that always stood out to me, I'd never forget. I remember we were at Lake Royale, we were swimming, and your mom had came down and visited you, and she was about to leave, and she was just talking to you. I remember she said, Mazio, remember, your name is Mazio. It means you are overcome. I was like, wow, that's powerful. Like, my name Clayton, you know, it don't mean anything, bro. So that I thought that was real dope.
What?
Malcolm means king.
Yeah.
Does it really?
He just made that up.
Means king, man. Malcolm is a Scottish king.
So and just to touch on that just a little bit, especially like tying that into a name. For the longest time, like I said, when I was going through this whole period of self-hate, and I hated that I was black at the time, as a black kid, because I felt like black kids didn't have nothing. We didn't have anything. We didn't get anything. We had these mean old parents who whooped us and told us what to do. And, and from what I thought I knew of whites, was that, the hell, their parents let them do whatever, and then they can be bad and still get, the latest game system and all these electronics and different things like that. But I do remember when I was going through that period, my first name became something that I leaned on, because first of all, everywhere I went, I was the only Vincent. And not only was I the only Vincent, the only other Vincents I ever knew besides my father were all white. People on TV, people in music and artists like Vincent Van Gogh and things like that. So those are the only Vincents I knew. And when people would ask me my name, or when people would hear like family members call me by my middle name, Terrell, I would say, that's not my name, because to me, Terrell was a black name, and I didn't want to be associated with that, because there was a part of me that wanted. Wow. Don't get me wrong, you can look at me and tell that I was a black man, but other than that, clearly, right? But other than that, like I wanted to disassociate myself with part of my blackness at that particular point in time as a child. And it's funny because you have these feelings as an adolescent, Now, I would rather have had those feelings as an adolescent, because I didn't know any better at the time. And I was influenced by media and just different things around me that my young mind really couldn't wrap itself around. I feel sorrow and pity for those as grown-ups who don't embrace their own blackness and have self-hate as an adult, because you know better, you are who you are, and you can't change it. Right. You can go out there and do like Sammy Sosa and bleach your skin all you want. You will still be a black person.
Don't do that, people.
Don't. I mean, embrace who you are. Your dark skin is beautiful. Your yellow skin, whatever color or shade you are, it is who you are. Beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And it is. And let me tell you this. Because one of the things growing up black, another thing, so we're gonna move into a different direction real quick, because now we're talking about skin tones.
Hold on, I got one more thing to say before we move on that. No, I just want to touch on, like, I've never like had that, like, I hate my black skin, but I have had moments where I'm like, man, it sucks. Yeah. Like, because I do all I can to seem unimposing, seem unthreatening, but it don't even matter. Like, I remember one incident, I told y'all about this before. While I was working at CarMax, I was on my lunch break, so I drove over to Walmart. I was sitting in my car for a second, just texting on my phone, and a lady pulled up beside me in her car, and she was just sitting there. So I get out my car and start to walk towards the store. I got on a CarMax polo shirt with a name badge, a CarMax hat, and some khaki shorts. So the least threatening outfit you could wear. And
looking like a corny salesman.
Indeed. But I think I sold 3 cars that day. But no, she looks up at me like with her eyes all wide and just hit that lock button. Like, lady, what I'm gonna do? Rob you with my name badge on in a CarMax? You know where I work and you know my name. Right. Come on, bro.
I'm asking to get arrested.
And that just like sucks, man. Because like everybody know I'm a big jokester or whatever. And I was like, man, why walk around smiling? I should walk around frowning and be that. Right. Be that that dude that steals your stuff out your car or rob you, take your purse. Because like you think I'm gonna do that anyway.
Right.
And, so I never hated myself, but
you do.
I thought the situation sucked.
But you do get to that point where you do think it sucks, because it's like, what is it about my black skin that intimidates you? Because like I said, I know you, and I know those that may not know you. But I mean, because I don't have that prejudice in me and I don't have that hate in me. So yeah, when I look at you or whatever, I don't see somebody I should feel threatened. And not just because of your size or your height or anything like that, but I do ask that, like you said, what is it about my black skin that intimidates you? Because
nothing.
Nothing. Just because my skin is a little bit darker than yours doesn't mean I'm gonna rob you, I'm gonna kill you, rape you, whatever the case may be. I can say this about all the brothers in this room right now. Y'all are some of the most mature, gentle guys I know. Y'all
and
wouldn't
attractive.
hurt. I wouldn't go that far. No.
We need to go ahead and start doing videos so they can see.
But y'all are some of the most gentle guys that I know. Y'all are strong men, but y'all are not violent. Y'all not gonna go and hurt nobody else. And it is somebody else out there that looks just like each and every one in this room, but they see us and automatically, man, they're threatened.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Were you about to? Yeah, it's funny that you said that because it's funny that you mentioned the story because for me it was this happened last week when I was at work, and I was dropping off the mail, put the mail in the mailbox, and got to this customer's house at a registered package. So the customer's like, "Is there anything ticking in the box?" And I'm like, "What?" I said, "What?" I said, "Ma'am, if anything was ticking in the box, I wouldn't have it."
Right.
So I was walking, and I'm like, let me look at it real quick. Let me observe her. She had the box, started shaking it, and it went in the house. I bust outside laughing. I'm like, come on, man. Like, why would I have a bomb with me and then I'm going to jeopardize your life? I'm not trying to go to jail. I'm not built for jail, bro.
You're jeopardizing your life in that rickety mail truck with a bomb.
Exactly. Like, what is this?
Look,
this ain't Mission Impossible.
And
nothing
just
like that.
your luck, you get stuck in traffic with a bomb that's on the top.
Come on now. That's crazy.
My main thing is like a lot of people who don't wear this skin that we wear don't understand like the things that we have to be conscious of. Like, I told Vincent I had a conversation with someone at work one day where we go out and we measure people's porches and stuff like that. So it was a townhouse, and I had to go. The townhouse was in the middle, so I had to go around the end to get to the back. And this lady, she came out and she was like, "Can I help you?" I'm in full uniform again with a clipboard and khaki shorts again. And I was like, "No, like, you can't help me. Like, I understand that this is part of your yard, but you hit a townhouse, so you have 3 other houses connected to yours. So no, you cannot help me." I said, "I got an appointment with someone." And I just kept walking. And then on top of that, I remember one time I had a customer who didn't answer their door. And they asked me like, "Did you go to the back of their yard and like get the measurements on the porch?" I'm like, I just said no, because I knew he wouldn't understand. Because I can't just walk around in somebody's backyard. I'm a big black dude in somebody's backyard, and like they're just not conscious of the things that we have to be. No. We have to be cognizant of. Like, anything can happen. Like, somebody call the cops because I'm some black dude they don't recognize in somebody's backyard, and I'm just trying to work.
And like Clay and I talked about, about that, like, at work and things like that. And then the other guys on our staff are also either black or Hispanic, with darker skin. So, they called me. It was like, well, and our boss is just like, well, why don't y'all just go ahead on the porch or in the back of the house and just get started? And I was like, absolutely not. And he's so clueless or either oblivious to these facts or just doesn't want. I think he just doesn't want to know.
Well, because he doesn't wear our skin.
No. And that's what I'm saying. But, but there's lots of them out there that we all know personally that they don't wear our skin, but they understand our plight. And, because they want to know, because they open their mind.
And it's a situation for me. I got pulled over, and we look at stuff all the time, how our own kind of like gets pulled over, and some people like get mouth off and they get hurt or whatever. Me, I had my cell phone. I put my cell phone on the dashboard, had my wallet put on the dashboard, had both my hands on the steering wheel. The cop came over. He said, "Hey, you were speeding, right?" And I was like, yeah, I know I was speeding. Sorry about that, sir." And I did the right thing. I talked to him, had respect, showed him respect. And when he was walking off, I said, "Hey, have a great holiday." He turns around and he said, "What did you say?" And had his hand on the gun. And I'm like, "Really?" Like, I did everything correctly, and yet still you have you feel like I'm a threat, so you won't put your hand on your gun or take your gun out and shoot me or whatever. No. And that was the one biggest thing that I had fear of when I had my son, because it's like, he has to learn and grow up and everything like that, but why does that have to be the one thing that I have to instill in him? You have to be scared to be a black man, because it's like, no matter what, you are a target. No matter what, I mean, you're African American, you're a male, and I mean, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, and I know a lot of people have. I've talked to a lot of people, and they're saying like, "Yo, I'm thinking about moving out of the United States." I'm like, really? And it's like, yeah, man.
Hey, I
But
told my wife
racism
the
is
same
everywhere,
thing,
though.
But you
bro.
know what? That's kind of sad though, because you shouldn't have to move, man. This is 2020.
You're still not gonna escape it though.
No, and that's my thing too. First of all, you shouldn't have to move, but even if you do move, I'm sorry. This planet seems big, but it's not. And the same problems you face here may not be as pronounced somewhere else, but you're gonna run into the same issues everywhere. That racism because of that dark skin, they fear or they are intimidated by that one continent there because of the mass population there and what they look like. But to touch on what you said before we go into that next segment, let me say this on that, and then we'll move along. If your ass is too scared to do your job properly with the training that you got, you probably shouldn't be a cop. If somebody bids you season's greetings and you clutch for your gun simply because that man's skin was black, you should turn in your damn badge, turn in your gun, and go get a job somewhere else where you don't have to feel intimidated in that way. And I say that about all cops. I don't care what color you are, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever. If you are that terrified on your job, get another job.
Man, I think when they say they were scared for their life, I think that's an excuse.
That's an excuse to
because-
pull my gun.
And not even just that, because I've met and known like people who are like on the police force, and that badge, that gun, that uniform, it gives them some extra bravado. They think they're the big man, and they think they can abuse that power. So I don't really think the fearing for their life is the major factor. I think they want to feel like, oh,
big man
I
on
got
campus.
power over
Yeah.
you. I think that's part of it. I think some of them are scared of us just because we're black. That's part of it, but I don't think that's the whole picture.
Bluntly speaking, what Clay is saying is some of y'all were probably a bunch of punks in school, and now you got a gun in a bag and you feel real tough. And I can say that because there's one of them who we actually went to school with.
Absolutely.
Was probably about the most biggest punk I ever knew, but now he has a badge and he talks real tough. I'm like, dude, you still a punk though. You just got a badge and a gun now.
If we think about the same person, he pulled us over one night when we was leaving Philip's house, and
It's the same person.
But let's get back to complexion, man, and how we, in our community, we have a self-hating war based on complexion. Light is right, dark is wrong.
No, people be hating on light skinned brothers now.
Yeah.
Well, now that's starting to
No,
flip.
not now. It's always been
but here's the
light skinned
thing.
brothers out of style.
But you know,
But
the
here's
thing
the
is,
thing: it
for a
flip
long
flops.
time, man.
It flip flops. At one moment, light is
When
right.
the light skinned brother gonna come back in then?
I know we've been on a style since 1921.
but you know, the funny thing is, I never knew. Like, okay, I know that now, but I'm just saying, like, when I was in high school and whatnot, it just seemed like when I was trying to holler at a chick, it seemed like they were all into light skinned dudes. So I'm like, dang, what's wrong with me? Like, you know, I understand I'm a dark skinned dude, but you know,
But you know, as a community, we got to get away from that. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of us that don't even look at that. It's like for us brothers, like the way we look at women. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and admit this. At a younger age, I was not all that attracted to darker skinned women, and that was because that was something that was instilled in me that dark was wrong, light was right, or whatever. And that was something that we saw in media, TV, movies, or stuff like that. That anytime there was a darker skinned woman on it, she was made out to, like, they did everything they can to draw it in your mind that she was ugly or whatever. And then, but this light skin one over here was fine. And don't get me wrong, they were fine or whatever. But this dark skinned woman over here was just as bad. But the way they portrayed it was that was wrong. So, and I fell victim to that, and I can admit that. And I can admit that now. Don't get me wrong. Now, y'all know how I feel about it. I love my black women. I love all women, but I love my black women. Y'all,
man, you sound like R. Kelly, bro.
Y'all are queens, man.
You
y'all,
sound like R. Kelly, bro. When he said, "I'm an older man that like all women."
No, I'm just saying, like, I think all women are precious. I think they're all beautiful. But I have a special place in my heart for black women. That's not to diminish anything against anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, the woman that I love the most on this earth is a black queen. queen, and that is my mother. I love you, Anita. So
Me too.
I can't say nothing.
you know, but we have this war going on inside of our own communities and even in our families, man, about complexion. And my pastor spoke on this one time. He's very fair skinned, very light skinned, my former pastor. And he spoke on this, that how he was treated a certain way, or how he experienced certain things, literally because people didn't take him serious as a black man because he was so fair skinned. So this is one of those on the other side now.
I know about that.
Yeah, you know. So and you know, we do go through that too. Like they're like, oh, cause you light skin, or you know, cause you light skin, you ain't tough. This, that, and the third. I'm like, dude, my skin tone don't tell you how hard I'm gonna hit you.
Right.
You know, or and just cause you're darker skinned don't mean I'm gonna fear you. Yeah, you know, but that happens though, and you know that happens in our community. That you know we have a little prejudice in us with us, and that's not something that. First off, we can't win this fight, this war that we're in against. And when I say war, I don't mean like a literal war. I mean like this battle against prejudice. But we can't win the big one that we're fighting if we're still fighting these small prejudice wars within ourselves.
Exactly.
And that's back to self-hate.
Yeah, definitely. And it ties back into self-hate. The
Yeah.
fact that I can look at one of you who pretty much look like me, just maybe taller, skinnier, or darker, or whatever, or even lighter. But at the end of the day, when the outside world sees us, it doesn't matter whether your skin is darker or lighter. They see a black man regardless.
Right.
You know, so but we got to do away with that. Like we have way too much self-hate.
Right. And in order for the black culture to move forward, we have to talk about this issue of self-hate.
Right.
Yeah,
And we got
most
to
definitely.
identify it so we can move forward.
Because you got to
as a-
be proud
as
of
a
who you
culture.
are.
Right.
And not only proud of who you are now, but proud of who you are before. And that means those that came before you.
Yep.
Your culture. And we do, as a community, we suck at learning our heritage. Now, part of that is because it wasn't taught to us.
Exactly.
Okay, but you are grown people now. You have the choice to go out there and do your research or to get out there and get the facts.
But you know, the one thing that's sad is that I've talked to a couple people in the past and whatnot, and even now, I'm like, yo, man, like your ancestors are from Africa, and they're like, nah, man, I ain't from Africa. Like, why are you disowning it, bro? Like, you were not born in in America. You weren't the original people here. It was Native Americans.
Or that one when you ask them their race, they quick to not say, "Oh, I'm black.
yeah,
I'm
black."
mixed." I'm like, why are you running to say? No, get me wrong. If you are mixed out there, claim that you're mixed. But for us that are black and pretty much only black or mostly black, I'm not saying hate your other side of your heritage, but some of us that really aren't mixed with nothing but except for our mom and our daddies, we jump to that. Oh, I'm mixed. Like you're trying to separate
I'm
yourself.
Cherokee.
I can't spell Cherokee.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
But I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like, for example, you take an exam, and it says like, what's your ethnic group? Are you, white, Hispanic, or African American? I mean, embrace who you are. And another thing that is really sad is that you can go on YouTube and you find videos of like, I think females in Trinidad like bleaching their skin, like actually pouring bleach on their skin to make their skin lighter. Like, what is that, man?
I mean, some of it, like me, my grandma, she's native, but when people see me, they just see black. They don't know my grandma is Hollow Wasaponi.
Exactly.
So
guys, as we start to wrap up, we talked about a lot of different things during this particular podcast here, during this episode. What's one thing you want our audience to just take away from this about our experiences about growing up black? What's that one thing you hope everyone takes away? Go ahead. Clay.
Yeah. One thing that I just want, like, people who are not black just to like seek some understanding and like know the things that we have to be conscious of, know the things that we have to tell our kids, our other family members who are growing up and have to navigate this world. Like, just be conscious of what we have to deal with, and they can help us make a change, but you just got to be understanding and hear what we're saying and what we have to deal with every day just to just have a regular life, go to work, go shopping, and we got to do all these other stuff just to be present.
Right.
Yep. I just want the black culture just to identify the state health that you have in yourself. See if you can fix it and identify it so you can move forward as a culture. If we can't identify self-help in ourselves, then we can't help anybody else get better. So I just want you guys to figure that out and let's move this culture forward.
Yeah, definitely.
I think for me, I would say love yourself, because you can't love anybody if you don't love yourself.
Amen.
Embrace the struggle that you face, the problems that you face, and the person that you are right now. Embrace everything that you went through in the past, and let it motivate you to be a stronger person, and motivate you to help that your brother and sister out. I mean, don't leave anybody hanging. So, we just got to help one another out.
Amen, Pastor Boone.
And I would say, for me, the biggest takeaway that I want the audience to take away from this episode is just to realize the struggle that we go through growing up Black in America. First and foremost, I'm proud to be Black, and I might have gone through things as a younger man or as a child that I didn't quite understand. But as a grown man, I understand exactly who I am, who we are as a people. And I'm proud to be Black. I love my Black skin. I love my Black people, regardless of shade or whatever you are. But also realize that we do face a plight. And the biggest thing I want my non-Blacks to understand is that if you want to help in this, seek understanding. Number one, seek out conversation. And I'm just going to say it. Shut up and listen a little bit. Shut up and listen. Because what you can't do is tell me, a Black man, how to feel about something that affects me that you will never understand because you don't walk in my shoes. You don't get to tell me how to be upset and how to feel. Seek understanding and realize what we deal with. Like I said, and if you can't understand it, ask questions, because that's the only way we're going to get through this, is to talk it out. And we might not agree on everything, but if you listen to me and I'll listen to you, I'm pretty sure we'll find some common ground where we can all exist on this planet, mutually, in love, and together. That's my takeaway.
All right, y'all got one more thing. So the first person who comment on After 29 Facebook page podcast and comment self-healing, we're going to do a $25 gift card to Texas Roadhouse.
Amen. All right, y'all.
Can I get it?
You got to comment on our Facebook page After 29 podcast.
You gonna cheat. You gonna get up there.
Self-healing.
You gonna get up there and do it before the audience get to do it.
I'm gonna just use one of my burner accounts.
All right, y'all. That was our first episode of the After 29 podcast. Just talking about and navigating our experiences about growing up Black here in America. Stay tuned for the next episode. New episodes will drop every Tuesday on anchor.fm. Just look up After 29 podcast. Follow us on all social media accounts. Stay tuned. We'll see you. Be blessed. Peace.
Peace. All right, guys. Just want to take a sec to say thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Please continue to support by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at After 29 Podcast. Please share with your family and friends. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also, make sure you tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the After 29 Podcast.